Our next file is People of the State of Michigan versus Ashley Cruz. We have a victim impact statement as to count 2, the assault with a weapon.
We do that.
All right, thank you. Allocution, Mr. Harrison.
Well, again, I often search for unique adjectives to use, particularly when I've been asked to speak about several cases in a row. And I think I've already used up the word chaotic. However, I don't think there's a better word to describe what was going on there that day, as the court has already noted. Mr. Wright backed a vehicle or into it, or something happened, and immediately took offense, claiming that Mr. Prosy was somehow responsible for that. And that was a whole, I can only describe it. I wish I could more accurately describe the personalities of the people involved. And I think that would just simply add another layer of almost farcical information for the court to consider in that regard, which is not to act as though that should be a mitigating factor here. Although I would say it was primarily, her behavior was primarily designed to protect her daughter, and the unfortunate location of the methamphetamine, notwithstanding, in the bag that she was giving the officer to take for her daughter.
It's unfortunate that the bag that had the daughter's items also had.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole,
right.
It's a comedy of errors in a number of ways, but let's get to the essence of the issue here. And the essence of the issue here is that Ashley was having a problem. She's having a problem. As noted in the report, she's had issues with substances for a while. Are they serious? Are they life? I don't know, but they're serious enough that she's now in a significant amount of trouble with regard to her status before the law. She has secured employment. I have a letter from her employer. She brought me, I don't know what I did with it. She's a manager of housekeeping at Evergreen Resort. I do know this. I've known Ashley for a number of years, and I can tell you she's employable. She's always employable. I also know that she has, again, we'll use the word, an extremely chaotic relationship with the fathers of her children. She is currently locked in a battle with the other parent of this particular child that was involved in this incident, et cetera, et cetera. So she's fighting a multiple front war against multiple situations involving her children, none of which excuses or gives the court a reason to reconsider whether or not she ought to be sanctioned for this behavior, because she should be. We know that. I'm pleased that the guidelines that are to be applied to this matter, I believe, more accurately reflect her status and her place in the continuum of her criminal history. I have that letter right here if the court's interested in reviewing it. I don't want to see her derail any of the progress that she's made. I want her to keep this job. I want her to be in the state of mind that she's going to need to be in to fight the battle she's going to have to fight on behalf of her children, some of which are in the very near future. It's one of those conundrums, Your Honor, because I know that Ashley's a good person, and I know that for the most part, well, I don't always applaud the decisions that she makes in her life. She's capable of doing so. That is not reflected when you see a report such as this one. It describes a person who, at least temporarily, was acting out of control and perhaps overreacting inappropriately to further instances of stress in her life, interaction with the troopers that day. I'm asking that the court take all of that into consideration and impose a sentence that fits within these guidelines in 0 to 17. I would like to see her on probation because I think probation will provide her with the one thing she hasn't had in her life is structure. And it'll provide some oversight. So while she's fighting these concurrent battles, there's no need for her to feel overwhelmed because she'll have resources to draw upon through the probation department that'll help her through all of that. In the long run, yeah, she has a good track record on probation as well. In the long run, that I think is the more beneficial situation, not only for Ashley Cruzy, but for society at large. Because she will continue in her employment, she will continue to be productive in that regard as well. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Carey.
I seriously question whether Ms. Prosy is supervisable. I want to start with the description of the offense. Yes, Mr. Wright had a trailer and went into the house and, confronted her about that, why the trailer was parked where it was. Her response to that was to pull out a machete and say she was going to gut him like a pig. She then left the residence. When police were there, she snuck back in, barricaded herself in a bedroom with his daughter, refused to comply with the police. Eventually, after several, I believe it was a few hours, got her out, where she continued to resist. Then she was on bond. She had 3 bond violations filed against her. She was allowed to go to treatment, which she left after 3 days. She didn't enroll in the EOP as she was told, and as of the date of the PSI, still had not yet started treatment. Those are the things that people find important. Her life is chaotic. Her children, she's got these battles over her children. I think she needs to look at her own actions in this. And if she gets that chaos under control by getting help and taking the help that's been offered to her, life might be less chaotic. I'm not sure what progress she's actually made in the short time that these cases have been pending, but none of it appears, has involved getting the help or treatment that she needs. And in fact, just stopping it on her own when it's been offered and not enrolling at all. So frankly, I am going to ask, I understand what the guidelines are, but given her behavior, and then I remind the court a month after the initial case, she took meth with her into the jail. So I do question seriously her supervisability and would ask, in spite of the guidelines, for a significant jail sentence. Thank you.
And I couldn't pay the $160. So I did have it delayed for a little bit, and then I got picked up on a Traverse City and I was jailed, and then I ended up losing my job, and it was a lot. But since these last about month now, I have been full-time management, running a whole housekeeping, thing. I'm working over 40 hours a week. I'm in there every single day. I've been doing everything that I can. I go to CMH for counseling, and I have a person that does it in home that is working with me. I'm also a part of the Club Cadillac, Caring Cadillac, and I go to TWS for my psyche belt.
What'd you get arrested on up in Traverse City?
Back in December, I got a driving without insurance, or I got driving without driver's license.
Oh, okay, I do see that. Well, Mr. Stapleton, you realize that that's not included in our PSI.
Yeah, there's a lot of flaws in my PSI, Your Honor.
So that's why.
There's a lot.
Well, what are the flaws?
For one, I'm being shorted out on a 7411 deal, and then, hold on a second.
But you said the 411 was dismissed.
Yeah, but it says 10 points, that I have a current felony conviction. I have no felony conviction. I have nothing on there.
Concurrent felony.
That's a concurrent felony, means you got 2 going on at the same time. That's PRV 10. Yes. So you don't have any scorings for PRV 1 or 2. So that's not wrong. You have scorings for PRV 10 because you have 2 files here. And one has 2 felonies. That's why you score for PRV 10. So you're not misscored there. But what I'm telling you here is also, what is missing is you got picked up on something new. Templeton, so you're probably gonna need to figure that one out. Got it? So she's got another conviction out there that we don't even know about. That'd be scoreable. But that means she got picked up on other charges. So, all right. Anything else, Ms. Cruzy?
If possible, I would like a hearing, to go over my OB scoring and stuff like that.
On what? So you've got, I've changed the scoring for OB1 and OB2. What's different for, and that's on count 1. And so you only score 19. That's for, actually, what is that scored for?
So resisting arrest in effect.
Well, but that's for the possession of meth. Mr. Harrison, is the defense asking me to set this for a hearing?
I don't believe a hearing will be necessary.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Ms. Cruzy?
Okay.
All right. Well, count 2, the court does not need to find reasonable ground. And we had a violation on bond. And the only reason I released you was to see if you'd get in trouble again, but you didn't. That's good. What I don't hear is that you went to community corrections and asked for help to make sure that you did what I told you to do. You didn't do that. So you violated your bond by using, and you violated your bond by not following the court's orders. You've been using marijuana since you were 10, and you've been using methamphetamine since you were about 13. You fried your brain, and you're probably, I don't know what you're going to do to get over this. So, and I'll tell you, one of the things that stands out to me here is that you had.
In this courtroom sentencing, Ashley Cruz appeared before a Michigan judge after pleading guilty to charges involving assault with a dangerous weapon, resisting police officers, and possession of methamphetamine. What began as a neighborhood dispute quickly spiraled into a chaotic confrontation that ended with police intervention, drug charges, and a lengthy sentencing hearing. Ashley's defense attorney acknowledged that the events were chaotic, but argued that his client was not an inherently violent person. He explained that Ashley had struggled with substance abuse for years and was dealing with an overwhelming number of personal challenges, including ongoing custody battles involving her children and conflicts with their fathers. Despite these struggles, the attorney emphasized that Ashley had recently secured full-time employment as a housekeeping manager and had always been capable of holding a job. He urged the court to consider probation rather than jail, arguing that supervision and structure would give her the best chance to overcome addiction, keep her employment, and become a stable parent for her children. The prosecutor painted a much different picture. According to the state, the incident began after an argument over a vehicle. During the confrontation, Ashley allegedly pulled out a machete and threatened to gut him like a pig. She then fled the scene before secretly returning to the house, where she barricaded herself inside a bedroom with her young daughter. Police officers spent hours attempting to resolve the standoff before finally taking her into custody. Even then, Ashley continued resisting arrest, forcing multiple officers to physically restrain her. The prosecution also highlighted Ashley's repeated failures while out on bond. She violated her release conditions multiple times, left a court-ordered treatment program after only 3 days, failed to enroll in additional substance abuse treatment as directed, and was later caught bringing methamphetamine into the county jail. Prosecutors argued that these actions demonstrated she was unwilling to follow court orders and questioned whether she could safely be supervised in the community. Because of her continued violations and lack of commitment to treatment, the state requested a significant jail sentence despite the sentencing guidelines. When Ashley addressed the court herself, she explained that financial difficulties and previous arrests had disrupted her progress. She told the judge she had recently regained steady employment, was working more than 40 hours a week, attending counseling, receiving mental health services, and trying to rebuild her life. She also questioned parts of the pre-sentence investigation report, arguing that some of the criminal history scoring was inaccurate. However, After reviewing the report, the judge concluded that the sentencing calculations were correct. Before imposing sentence, the judge delivered a stern warning. He expressed serious concern about Ashley's long history of methamphetamine use, stating that years of drug abuse had severely affected her judgment. The judge criticized her for keeping approximately 16 grams of methamphetamine inside a bag used for her child, calling it evidence that she posed a danger not only to herself, but also to her children. He also noted that she had previously lost custody of other children, yet continued making destructive decisions instead of seeking meaningful treatment. The judge further criticized Ashley for threatening someone with a machete, resisting multiple police officers, ignoring bond conditions, and repeatedly refusing opportunities for rehabilitation. While he acknowledged her recent employment, he explained that holding a job for only a short period did not outweigh years of criminal behavior, substance abuse, and repeated violations of court orders. His primary concern, he said, was protecting the public and ensuring the long-term safety of Ashley's children. After considering all of the evidence, the court sentenced Ashley to 36 months of probation on one charge. However, because of the methamphetamine offense and her repeated violations, the judge also imposed 180 days in jail, with credit for time already served, along with additional sentencing conditions under Michigan law. The judge concluded by reminding Ashley that she had been given numerous opportunities to change her life, but lasting change would only come if she finally chose to follow the rules, remain sober, and accept responsibility for her actions.